Good people who have traveled from villages near and far, lend me your ears.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
What's up, Miss Tasty? What's up? What's up?
Hi there, nice to see you. Bumblebee Tuna? Bumblebee Tuna!
Hello, S. Mantooth. Hello, Evening News Team.
You are now listening to another edition of Movie Review Crew.
Welcome to the goodie room.
But their ability to open is f***ing heroic.
And now, with your permission, I'm going to do my stuff.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to do the best I can.
All right, guys, The Color Out of Space. It's a 2019 film. It is unrated, according to IMDb. Is that a thing?
Because I don't think it got a theatrical release. So I don't think it went through the whole MPAA thing.
Gotcha. Our 51 minutes long horror mystery sci-fi film. A secluded farm is struck by a strange meteorite, which has apocalyptic consequences for a family living there and possibly the world. Directed by Richard Stanley, story by H.P. Lovecraft, and adapted to the screen by Richard Stanley and Scarlett Amaris. Starring Nicolas Cage, Jolie Richardson, Madeline Arthur, Tommy Chong, Elliot Knight. Big names here, guys. Am I missing any?
Brandon Meyer is a big part, and Julian Hilliard is a big part. The rest are mostly non-existent.
Perfect. Tommy Chong got a big role?
An effective role. Not big, but it's a good role.
A big enough part of the story.
Does he play a stoner?
Oh,
Absolutely,
yeah.
100%.
I didn't expect any different. I was just going to be surprised.
Like, I think
on a limb there, Mike.
I think they went to his house and just recorded, and
They
then
just filmed on location at his house.
built the story around what he said. They were like, dude, that's a good, weird story. We're rolling with that. Write it.
I love it. I would expect that from a Nick Cage film, in all honesty. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film gets an 86% certified fresh. Holy buckets.
Boy, what's this?
6.7 out of 10.
Okay, all right, that's more.
Audience score, 82%.
Yep.
4 out of 5.
I agree.
Critics' consensus. A welcome return for director Richard Stanley. Color Out of Space mixes tart B-movie pulp with visually alluring Lovecraftian horror and a dash of gonzo Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
A little background. The whole welcoming return for director Richard Stanley. He's the guy, very, very well known for having been fired from the island of Dr. Moreau. What is it? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The whole production with, like, the most famously disastrous production with
Val
Kilmer and Marlon Brando.
Brando.
Just they were both doing everything they could to ruin everything that was going on, and the shoot itself had problems, and he was
basically
involved in all
ended
that.
this dude's career until this movie.
Yep. And that was back in the 90s, 97?
96.
Yeah, okay.
96.
Yeah. So
That is.
yeah.
Mike, have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't. I had honestly.
I dare you.
There has to be a documentary about it, right? I mean, I would be more interested in watching the documentary about that filming process than actually watching The Island of Dr. Moreau.
I mean, that's like the whole Tropic Thunder, where the documentary of the making of the disastrous. I mean, I agree. I think that'd be a fascinating documentary.
So, okay, give me a little bit of backstory about this. They just didn't want him as the director, like the actors did.
No, he couldn't control the actors. Completely tanked everything. Brando was famously prima donna and hard to work with,
especially at that point in his career. Kilmer did not want to be involved, so he intentionally. Kilmer tried to be bad intentionally, and he has a reputation
almost ruined.
For being terrible.
I mean, it did mostly ruin Kilmer's career.
Yeah. I mean, he had a couple other flops that didn't help, but that played
because he was labeled as like basically blackballed as hard to work with, prima donna, troublesome. I mean, the whole thing was a disaster.
It was
interesting.
It was horrendous. Give credit to
so in his.
I think his name's David Dwellis. Is that his name? who was in that, played the main character, and I've never heard that he did anything but do his best. So good on him, and he's had a great career. So good for him. He seems like a professional dude.
Oh yeah, he was Remus Lupin.
Yeah, I love him as a character actor. He's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, in Richard Stanley's return, going from mediocre actor Marlon Brando, as we all know,
did nothing.
To Oscar-winning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stalwart, Power Force,
Powerhouse.
Five,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That too. Nicolas Cage.
One might say international icon.
Nick Cage.
That hurts because that can't be disputed that he is an international icon.
Yep.
That's so dumb.
Why? Because he's great and everyone loves him?
Honestly, I mean, here's the thing. I cannot. This movie is mostly serious, and I cannot sit there and watch him nasally mumble his way through a movie like friggin' South Park's Mr. Mackey. I can't do it.
See,
I honestly can't tell you how Nick Cage keeps getting roles.
Killing me.
Every time he opens his mouth, I want him to end his sentence with "okay."
I love The Rock. I love some of the movies he's done, but he just overacts in everything he does.
Yeah,
you
honestly
can't tell me that you honestly thought he was fantastic in this movie.
I thought this movie would be, in my opinion, I thought this movie would be better had they replaced Nick Cage. Because, and let me defend this, if they had gone full bonkers, fine. His performance and what they did sometimes didn't fit. Well, first of all, this movie didn't, to me, first thoughts, didn't have an identity. It was too long and boring. It bogged down in the middle. It couldn't decide if it wanted to be like crazy or serious, or the music didn't fit and didn't help whatever they were trying to create. And Nick Cage felt out of place because
I see.
I don't know.
I had
that's
the
where I'm at.
Opposite thoughts coming in is I think this is a good way, a good utilization of the Nick Cage craziness to where there's a reason for it, because in many of his movies it's just like, the reason is he's Nick Cage, deal with it. But in this movie there's a reason and a point to him kind of just going nuts, because he is. And I think, while I agree with you that it's odd tonally, and I could be way off here, but my thoughts are that was intentional, because this whole movie is about the unknown and this oddity and how it's affecting them, and it's their brains are getting messed with. So the tones are weird, because that adds to kind of that unknown and the zaniness and the how everything just kind of feels off. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just, like you said, couldn't figure out their identity. But that's
opinion,
my thought.
Steve, you picked it. What'd you think?
I guess buddy to have go crazy. Nick Cage is the one to do, but I think I side more with Aaron on this. It just didn't seem like it fit in that place for this movie.
Well, and my problem with it is that, yeah, fine, Nick Cage, this is what he's known for, like these kooky crazy, but it's almost cartoony crazy to where we're supposed to kind of be afraid of what's happening, and the whole time you're like, oh, here's Nick Cage doing Nick Cage stuff.
I can't disagree with that, because at some points I literally laughed, and I don't know if that was intentional, if they were trying to do this dark humor because it's a crazy situation. I don't know, but some of his line deliveries I legitimately laughed. They were hilarious to me. The one about
when he said, "What the F are you talking about?"
Yes. And every time he was talking about his llamas, and I mean, there were
alpacas.
Sorry, alpacas.
They're different.
Sorry.
They're different.
Yeah, his alpacas. I laughed out loud. There were scenes that he was in I thought were hilarious, and I don't know, maybe that made it more fun to me. Maybe you're right, it didn't fit, but it like I said, it kind of gave it the whole just odd feeling. I think this.
You know. Go on.
I think I don't know. I would rather have a fun, lighthearted. Not that it's lighthearted because there's some dark stuff.
Well, that's the thing, and Steve, tell me if you agree. I would have been fine with it, but the whole rest of the movie, like we're getting shots of, like real serious filmmaker shots, and we have music that's serious music, and a story that should be kind of creepy and scary, but then you get Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And you get some scenes that are pretty dark.
Yeah.
When some of the creatures start coming out, I mean,
yeah,
it's
and
pretty
the things
dark.
that happen to the family members and the things that they have to do to their family members. I
yes, think. and none of it matters because these actors aren't good enough to care.
See,
that's what I was gonna say. You have Nick Cage, who for me is at least a subpar actor.
Okay.
He was
right.
He was outdone at how bad they were by the girl who played Lavinia.
Oh,
she was terrible.
Hands down, like we talked about the awful performance in the old ways.
In the old ways, not that bad.
Yes, I mean,
man.
both her and the son, like this. We're watching this scene. Spoiler alert. We're watching this scene in which this alien force has melded their mother and their little brother together,
which
and
was
they're both
terrifying
whimpering
imagery.
and crying, and it's this hideous. And they're just like, okay, how you doing, Mom? Like, honestly, that give us something.
It's still their
there.
mom. I mean, yeah, they were. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I give me this at least, because Nick Cage had some moments where like, especially when he had to jump into action. I'll say it that way so we're not spoiling. And he had to do what he had to do at times. He was very good in those moments of displaying his sadness, his horror, his I guess revulsion at what's going on. I thought he was good. I thought in some moments like that he was very, very good. And
to me, it just wasn't consistent with the tone, and it.
Yeah, I guess I can't argue. The tone was all over the place. I guess it just didn't bother me as much. The visuals, though, let's talk about the visuals, because I thought they were amazing. Everything from the odd, I don't what do you call it? A storm? Whatever's happening.
The magenta color.
Yeah.
Which is prominent throughout the movie.
Yeah, and everything from that to the body horror was very good. The effect that it had on people, I thought the visuals were very, very good throughout.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping for more alien. Like the whole premise of this story is that H.P. Lovecraft wanted to create something so alien that because like humans' imagination would run wild and create this, like it's this color that is indescribable, and like the horror we get, other than some of the body horror toward the end, like it turns the field into pink flowers. Like I wanted more grotesque things happening, more alien things happening.
Well, I think that's part of it. That's part of the, I guess, almost lack of reaction is that they don't know what this is, so they don't. At times, it's beautiful. Is it a threat? Who knows? Is it some sort of malignant force? Is it actual aliens? They don't know. We don't know. So I think the lack of reaction comes from, I mean, they don't
from lack of acting ability.
Well, no, from them, it's not necessarily bad yet. I mean, it's weird and at times beautiful, and it hasn't gotten to that point of like, all right, something's happened. It's just kind of like, what is happening? Not horror at something bad's happening, because it's pretty, it's beautiful. It's, I mean, the kids talking to people in the wells and seeing pink flowers, like you said. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad until it gets bad. Yeah. It's just like a slow kind of, I don't even know the word for it, but they just kind of dissolve. Their brains, bodies, all of them. They just it just goes to shit real quick at the end. But I don't know. I like it because it's interesting. I do think it could have been more. It could have been better. It could have been scarier. But it's interesting to me.
Well, see, I didn't know that this was basically a Lovecraft movie. Have you guys ever been into his types of stories?
Yep. I after so the book that the movie Annihilation was based on is essentially a version of this story, and after reading that book, I bought a big anthology of Lovecraft work, and meh. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I have never been big on the cosmic horror type of stuff. I mean, it's, if done well, it's interesting. I think it's hard to do well, though. There's a lot of shows, movies that try to do that sort of unknown cosmic horror type thing, but it can be interesting. It makes for odd stories in movies, but I don't mind that. I'm not a huge fan, but it's interesting to me.
Can we talk about this? What is he? 18-year-old water guy that has, like, they turn to this hydrologist for answers. Like, what is he even doing there in this story? He's a hydrologist. He's not an expert on space. He's not an expert on, like, why is he the authority?
They kind of made it seem as if the water was the...
Well, sure, but like they keep turning to him like he would have answers to this. What does he have to do with it?
He has more scientific knowledge than them to base a guess on. I mean, if it's, us four and anybody with any scientific background and this is happening, we're gonna turn to them like, what is happening here? Do you have any guesses? You're smarter than us.
Jumping in with answers. I like, why wouldn't he just be like, no, I'm a hydrologist?
Because he was wicked smart, bro. He knew stuff. Like, just don't ask questions.
I mean, honestly, I hate to say it, but I was very quickly taken away from this movie because of, let me get her name right while I blast her.
Oh, okay. So she was not that bad. She was
Madeline Arthur was the single worst thing I've ever seen.
Ever.
Since the old ways.
Since in the last 2 months.
Yep.
I mean, that's fair, I guess. If you haven't seen any... I don't think she was terrible. She was, and I can't remember one scene, but I laughed because of how she delivered a line that was supposed to be super serious. I wish I could remember. Darn it. Anyway, I mean, just terrible.
I'm with Aaron on this one. The way she delivers her lines and how she goes about certain scenes, it just didn't fit for what this movie needed. Especially when they finally see their mom and brother attached to each other.
Yeah, that was one of the better scenes of I guess not a scene because it lasted for a while, but that whole sequence of events was, I mean, that would be terrifying. That was so well done, and just the noises and oh man, that was gross. Speaking of noises, though, Aaron, you mentioned the music. You thought it didn't fit besides that, what did you think of it just standalone? The music itself, what did you think?
Well, I have to admit that I compared this because they're essentially based on the same story, same core story. I compared this to Annihilation, and I absolutely, that's one of the best soundtracks for Annihilation. The just complete odd alien sound, and this was just too safe, too normal, too boring. I don't know. I mean, it was just kind of usual. It wasn't unique.
That's fair. What about so I'm trying to think of what did you like about the movie? Because I'm trying to get some positives out of you. I like this movie more than you, I think.
I didn't think it was a terrible movie. There was just certain parts of the movie that I didn't care for. It was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Can you at least admit that Nick Cage slam dunking fruit into the trash can is one of the greatest scenes in the history of cinema? Can you give me that?
No.
I'll give you that. And
my
also,
God.
the mom cutting the carrot might be one of the most cringe-worthy scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, low hanging fruit. Everybody knows what's happening.
You knew it was coming, but when she did
it,
it was kind of like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, the ending, the last 20 or so minutes where it just went completely off rails, I liked.
Yeah.
That's what the whole movie should have been, because it didn't take itself too seriously. I mean, it's mostly schlocky B-movie type of material that they're working with, and they tried to play it way too serious in the first half.
I agree. I liked it, but I would not, even in Nick Cage's filmography, which I enjoy. I know you guys think he's junk, but you're wrong. I like his performance. The movie I would probably not watch again. I would not. I enjoy the movie. It's not one I'll seek out, and I would not have rewatched it had Steve not chosen it. So I guess I don't know. Take that for what it is. Not very rewatchable. There's no real reason to rewatch it. I mean, if I want to see Nick Cage going nuts, I'll look up individual scenes or watch his next movie, which will be Nutty Nick Cage again.
I honestly probably wouldn't have picked this, but I was the first one to go for horror movie month, and a lot of the new horror movies didn't come out till this week or next week. A lot
of the streaming services didn't put their horror movies in their catalog until this week. So.
Yeah, so like I said, I probably wouldn't have picked this movie had it been 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, the ratings too.
Yeah.
I was hoping that it would be something I might enjoy. I thought maybe I would. I thought maybe because there are Nick Cage performances when they are more subdued and he actually tries to take things a little more seriously that are fine.
Or when he's just nuts and it works, like in Mandy. Oh, man.
Well, sure.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know that I would. I do know that I would not recommend this to anybody.
See, and you've mentioned the tone of the movie. I think Nick Cage knew what this movie should have been, and he was going there. And maybe
I know what this movie should have been. It should have been shorter.
Oh, well.
It's almost 2 hours long.
Yeah, I mean, it does drag a bit, too.
Know what you are. Make it 1 hour and 20 minutes. Then it wouldn't be such a slog through the middle part, and we get to the real meat of the story, which is the ending. We get to it quicker.
Yeah, I can't disagree. It should have been shorter. Nick Cage was amazing, though. I think he knew what this movie. If everybody was on the level of just like, you know what, go for it, action, do whatever that, slam dunk some fruit, do whatever you're gonna do. I mean, this movie, if they all took it there, I would have loved it. I thought it would have been amazing. I enjoyed it, and maybe it was because the rest of the movie was a bit dull that Nick Cage just going, cranking it up to 12. Maybe that's what I needed to keep me in it, but I dug it.
Are we ready to rate it?
I think we're there. Steve, it's your choice. You first or last?
I'll go last on this one.
Okay, Aaron. You started off low. We'll maybe lift it up, I guess.
Well, so I kind of compare this to, I don't know, a movie like Southern Comfort, where it's like, okay, I like your idea. I hate how you executed it. There was some good filmmaking, but what else? I mean, honestly, those performances in this movie from nearly everybody, it was pretty bad. It was just too slow in the middle parts. I don't even want to give it a 5, but maybe that's a 5. A 5. Because the practical effects of all the body horror and the mutated animals and the everything, I love that they did things practically. They used filmmaking techniques to make it look at least semi-realistic. The last 20 minutes, if that was more the tone of the whole movie, I would have enjoyed this movie, but it was just too serious and slow in the beginning. And honestly, I think they thought the focus, they put the focus on the children, which was a mistake. You have Nick Cage in a movie.
Yeah.
Put him as your focal point, and it wasn't. So, and a 5 out of 10 for me.
I mirror actually a lot of what you said. I think Nick Cage was, I don't know, I liked him in this movie. I thought it was great. I thought the tone, especially in the scenes he was in, because he can make it odd. He just got this, I mean, I don't have to describe Nick Cage. Everybody knows he's just this oddball. He just goes freaking nuts. He takes risks in his acting and makes choices in his acting that nobody would make. Good or bad, you decide. I think it's good. He takes chances. He takes risks. He does that in this. The movie itself does run a bit long. It's dull at times. It maybe struggles to have an identity. But I did enjoy it more than you. I'm giving it a 6.5. I think it's better than average because, like you said, the visuals, the filmmaking, the effects, Nick Cage, Tommy Chong. It's something we haven't ever seen him do before, is play the stoner character, and I think he nailed it.
True.
6.5. It's a C+ to me. I don't think it's great. It's interesting enough.
Steve, what about you?
I mean, I'm pretty much going to repeat pretty much what Aaron said. For what Shane was saying, I think if they would have went full on nutso, Nick Cage would have been better in this movie. But since he's doing his nutso, his shtick or whatever you want to call it, and I don't think he's terrible. It didn't fit for me.
Yeah, I can't argue.
Some of the horror scenes, like the mom and the son being put together, the alpacas, seeing them was pretty nutso. Visually, it was truly
those damn alpacas, man. Every scene with Nick Cage and his alpacas was so good.
I'm also gonna give it a 5.
Okay. Final score of 5.5.
Yeah, that's
that's a C-. I guess I'm not. Yeah, that's whatever.
Yeah. Let's do a quick little game of this or that. This or Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Which one?
That. The original?
Yes.
That.
That.
This or Time Cop?
Time Cop all day.
I don't remember one bit of Time Cop.
What do you mean?
I haven't seen that one.
Jean-Claude doing the splits in his skivvies?
This or Her?
Oh God, this. Ugh.
This or Black Mass?
Black Mass.
Black Mass.
This or Dave Made a Maze?
Dave Made a Maze. Oh,
this.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's a classic.
No, it's
classic.
not.
This or the 2018 version of Suspiria?
Oh, that.
Yeah, I
haven't seen that one. Sorry.
I wasn't real high on that one, but it's a better movie.
This or Mother?
Oh God, this. Oh my God, this. Ugh.
Another kind of horror movie. This or Moon?
Moon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd rather see that performance than anything in this movie.
Yeah, Moon got a lower score. I mean, they're close.
Rewatching
but...
it, wasn't as good as we thought. The performance is still incredible, and there's no taking away from it. But...
Yeah. A couple more. This or Odd Thomas?
That.
This or Winter's Bone?
This.
That.
Actually, one more. This or Frozen? And that's not the animated. That's the
Frozen.
This.
They're stuck on a ski lift.
Probably this.
Both movies.
Let's do one more. I know Aaron's answer, but
Okay.
this or oh god, what was the movie?
Annihilation. Not even close. Not even close. That.
Okay.
Is Annihilation the?
Yep.
Yes.
That's such a good soundtrack. It's so
that
eerie
soundtrack's
and...
fantastic. Directing's fantastic. The only reason Shane doesn't like it is because it's Natalie Portman.
I don't
dislike
the movie. I'm just not as high on it as you. I do think Natalie Portman is garbage. She's
better than whoever the hell.
I'd rather have the
was
little girl
movie.
in this one.
Stop.
Oh
So 5.5. You said that's a C minus.
Yeah.
I could look behind me, but I don't want to.
No, it's
5.5.
It's out of focus.
Yeah, color out of space. I could fix it. It's fine. Shane, you have to pick next week. What do you pick?
I am picking a movie that I'm ashamed I've never seen because I love John Carpenter. I like his horror, I like his action, and this movie kind of merges both of those, and it's Vampires with James Woods. I've never seen it, so I don't know. I don't even know what to expect other than James Woods in a John Carpenter movie about killing vampires. So I'm all in. I'm excited for it.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys, join us online at moviereviewcrew.com. In the meantime, go to our website, moviereviewcrew.com, and you guys can join us online at moviereviewcrew.com.
All right.
Nailed it.
Anything else, gentlemen?
Nope.
I think that's it.
All right, someone end the show.
Tell
your friends.
Hey guys! Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
Good day, sir! Sir, I said good day!
Yeah. See ya.
Hasta la vista, baby.
This has been
the Movie Review Crew podcast. Remember to find us online on your favorite social media apps and go to our website, moviereviewcrew.com.
Linger, man.
Yeah, totally.
Linger.
Hardcore.